Barry Gibb was born Barry Allen Crompton Gibb on September 1, 1946, on the Isle of Man, a quiet and unlikely birthplace for someone who would go on to reshape the sound of popular music across 5 decades. From the very beginning, music was woven into the fabric of his life. Raised in a close-knit working-class family, Barry was the eldest of the famous Gibb brothers, a role that would define him not only as a musician but as a protector, guide, and emotional anchor for his siblings. Alongside his younger brothers, Robin and Maurice, his inseparable musical partners, Barry displayed an early gift for melody, harmony, and storytelling that seemed almost instinctive. The Gibb family immigrated to Australia in the late 1950s, and it was there that Barry, Robin, and Maurice began performing together seriously, eventually forming what would become the Bee Gees. Even in their teenage years, Barry emerged as the group's natural leader. His strong work ethic, quiet confidence, and musical discipline set the tone for the band. While Robin's vibrato-laden voice and Maurice's versatility added depth, Barry's songwriting instincts and evolving vocal style gave the group its spine. By the mid-1960s, the Bee Gees had returned to England and quickly gained international attention with hits like New York Mining Disaster 1941, To Love Somebody, and Massachusetts. These early songs revealed Barry's gift for emotional honesty, lyrics that felt intimate and universal at the same time. As the Bee Gees matured, so did Barry Gibb as a songwriter and producer. He wasn't just writing pop songs, he was crafting narratives about heartbreak, longing, regret, and hope. His melodies were often deceptively simple, but they carried emotional weight that lingered long after the music ended. Barry's voice, initially rich and full, evolved dramatically in the 1970s when he began using the falsetto that would later become one of the most recognizable sounds in music history. Rather than a gimmick, the falsetto became an expressive instrument, sensual, fragile, and powerful all at once. The late 1970s marked an unprecedented peak in Barry Gibb's career. As the creative driving force behind the Bee Gees' contributions to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, Barry helped ignite the disco era while transcending it. Songs like Stayin Alive, Night Fever, and How Deep Is Your Love dominated charts around the world and permanently altered the landscape of popular music. During this period, Barry Gibb was not only the most successful songwriter on the planet but also one of the most influential. His ability to merge rhythm, melody, and emotion turned dance music into something deeply human, proving that even songs meant for the dance floor could carry soul and vulnerability. Beyond his work with the Bee Gees, Barry Gibb became one of the most sought-after songwriters and producers in the industry. He wrote and produced hits for artists such as Barbra Streisand, Diana Ross, Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Celine Dion, and Andy Gibb, his younger brother. Barry had a rare ability to write songs that felt perfectly tailored to each artist while still bearing his unmistakable melodic signature. His work behind the scenes revealed his generosity as a collaborator, less interested in the spotlight than in creating something timeless. Yet Barry Gibb's life was not defined solely by success. Personal loss cast a long shadow over his later years. The deaths of his brothers, Andy in 1988, Maurice in 2003, and Robin in 2012, were devastating blows. With each loss, Barry not only lost a sibling but a piece of his musical soul. Maurice had been his musical compass, Robin his emotional mirror. Barry faced these tragedies with quiet resilience, continuing to honor his brothers through music rather than retreating from it. His perseverance speaks to his deep belief in music as both purpose and healing. In his later years, Barry emerged as a reflective elder statesman of music. His solo work, including the album In the Now, revealed a man still deeply connected to his craft, writing about love, memory, faith, and endurance with honesty and grace. His voice, though aged, retained its warmth and emotional clarity, proving that authenticity transcends time. Audiences did not come merely to hear the hits, they came to witness a survivor telling his story through song. On November 6, 2020, Barry Gibb quietly opened a new and deeply personal chapter in his legendary career with the announcement of Greenfields, an album that felt less like a reinvention and more like a heartfelt homecoming. Conceived as a duets project, Greenfields brought Gibb together with some of the most respected and soulful voices in country and Americana music, including Dolly Parton, Little Big Town, Alison Krauss, and a carefully chosen group of artists who shared both his reverence for storytelling and his love of timeless melody. Rather than chasing trends, Gibb returned to the emotional core of his songwriting, allowing the songs to breathe in a stripped-down, roots-oriented setting that highlighted their lyrical depth and enduring power. The album reimagined 11 classic Bee Gees compositions, transforming familiar melodies into warm, country-tinged interpretations that revealed new shades of meaning, along with one previously unreleased song written by Gibb himself. These weren't simple covers or nostalgic exercises. They were thoughtful reinterpretations that proved the universality of the Bee Gees' catalog and its ability to transcend genre boundaries. The project's first glimpse came the same day with the release of Words of a Fool, a haunting duet with Jason Isbell. Originally written by Gibb in 1986 for an album that never saw the light of day, the song finally found its moment decades later, resonating with a sense of reflection, maturity, and emotional honesty that only time can bring. Greenfields was widely embraced as both a celebration of Barry Gibb's songwriting legacy and a testament to his willingness to keep evolving even after a career spanning more than half a century. That enduring influence was further acknowledged in December 2023 when Gibb received one of the highest honors in American culture, recognition at the 46th Annual Kennedy Center Honors. The moment served as a powerful affirmation of his contributions to music, not just as a performer but as one of the most successful and emotionally resonant songwriters of all time. Looking ahead rather than resting on accolades, Gibb turned his focus in 2024 to the pre-production of the long-anticipated Bee Gees biopic, taking on the role of executive producer. With his direct involvement, the project promised to offer an authentic and intimate portrayal of the brothers' extraordinary journey, shaped by Barry's own memories, insights, and unwavering commitment to preserving the Bee Gees' legacy for future generations. Gibb's romantic life unfolded with the same intensity and emotional sweep that marked his music, beginning with a youthful marriage that carried all the promise and fragility of first love. At just 19 years old, he married Maureen Bates on August 22, 1966, stepping into adulthood and commitment almost simultaneously. The young couple settled into Abbey House, located near London's legendary Abbey Road Studios, a setting steeped in musical history and creative energy. Yet despite the evocative surroundings and their early hopes, the marriage proved short-lived. The pressures of youth, ambition, and a rapidly accelerating career took their toll, and after only a brief period together, the relationship came to an end. By July 1970, Gibb and Bates had quietly divorced, closing the door on an important but fleeting chapter of his personal life. Not long after, fate intervened again, this time in a way that would reshape his future far more enduringly. While attending the taping of the BBC's iconic Top of the Pops in London, Gibb met Linda Gray, the former Miss Edinburgh, whose grace, intelligence, and calm presence immediately set her apart. Their connection was swift and unmistakable, blossoming at a pivotal moment when Gibb himself was maturing both personally and professionally. On September 1, 1970, his 24th birthday, the two were married, marking not just the beginning of a new relationship but the foundation of a lifelong partnership. Together, Gibb and Linda built a strong, close-knit family that became the emotional anchor of his life. They raised 5 children, including Stephen, and in time welcomed 8 grandchildren, creating a legacy that extended well beyond music and fame. Despite the demands of international stardom, Gibb remained deeply committed to his family, often crediting Linda with providing the stability and grounding he needed to navigate the highs and lows of a life in the public eye. In 2009, the couple made another significant decision together, becoming citizens of the United States while proudly retaining their British citizenship, a reflection of lives lived across continents but firmly rooted in shared values and mutual devotion. Through love, loss, reinvention, and longevity, Gibb's personal journey mirrored the evolution of the man himself, revealing a story not only of success and celebrity but of growth, resilience, and enduring love. For decades, Barry Gibb was known to the world as the last surviving Bee Gee, a songwriter of unmatched emotional instinct, and a man whose melodies seemed to understand heartbreak better than most people ever could. Yet behind the chart-topping hits, the falsetto harmonies, and the glittering success, Barry carried quieter stories, friendships that shaped him, moments that stayed with him long after the applause faded. One of those stories, he would later admit, belonged to Kenny Rogers. "Kenny was never just another famous voice to me," Barry once said. "He was someone who understood what it meant to survive in this business without losing your soul." Their connection was not built on flashy collaborations or constant public appearances, but on mutual respect between two artists who had lived several musical lives. Kenny Rogers had traveled from folk to rock to country, reinventing himself with an ease that Barry deeply admired. Kenny didn't chase trends, Barry reflected. He trusted his instincts. And when you heard him sing, you believed every word because he believed it first. Barry confessed that Kenny represented something rare in the music industry: calm authority. When Kenny walked into a room, he didn't need to say much, Barry said. There was a steadiness about him. He'd already fought his battles and won them quietly. That steadiness became a source of comfort for Barry, especially during periods when personal loss weighed heavily on him. The deaths of his brothers, first Andy, then Maurice, then Robin, left Barry navigating fame alone for the first time. It was during those years, he admitted, that Kenny's presence meant more than fans ever realized. Kenny understood grief in a way that wasn't theatrical, Barry said. He didn't give speeches, he just listened. Sometimes that's the greatest kindness. Barry also acknowledged that Kenny taught him an important lesson about aging in the spotlight. While many artists struggled with relevance, Kenny seemed to grow more comfortable with time. He told me once, "You don't outrun time, you walk with it," Barry recalled. That stayed with me. It helped me stop fighting who I was becoming. In his confession, Barry spoke candidly about how Kenny Rogers embodied honesty, both in music and in life. Kenny never pretended to be someone he wasn't, Barry said. If a song hurt, he let it hurt. If it healed, he let it heal. That honesty is why people trusted him. Barry admitted that this approach influenced how he wrote later in life, choosing emotional truth over commercial expectation. There was also humor in their bond, something Barry remembered fondly. Kenny had this dry wit, he smiled. He could cut through tension with one line and leave everyone laughing, including himself. Those moments of laughter, Barry confessed, helped him survive some of the darkest chapters of his life. When Kenny Rogers passed away in 2020, Barry felt the loss deeply. It felt like losing another compass, he said quietly. Another voice that reminded you what really mattered. In reflecting on their relationship, Barry finally admitted something he had rarely spoken aloud. Kenny helped me stay human in a world that constantly tries to turn you into a product. In the end, Barry Gibb's confession was not about secrets or scandal, but about gratitude. The truth about Kenny Rogers, Barry said, is that he gave people permission to feel, and he gave me permission to slow down, to breathe, and to be myself. For Barry, that truth remains one of the most meaningful legacies of all, a reminder that behind every legend is another legend, quietly offering strength, understanding, and friendship when it matters most.